Hey, it's Christian, and today I wanted to rant on why I think AI is not the fix search engines need. And in fact, from my perspective, I think it's making a broken system even worse. There's been a lot of posts and sort of conversations I've seen recently about Perplexity and these other AI search engines kind of being the holy grail. They're going to offset Google, even though Google has its own. So I really wanted to dig in, and I think that everything I'm about to say I'm certain you will know to be true because you've lived it, so let's dive in. So the promise of search originally was straightforward. It was a way to navigate this vast trove of human knowledge with a reasonable level of clarity and purpose. But what should have been a tool for discovery has since devolved into this self-serving loop of ads, clickbait, biased algorithms, shallow SEO, optimized funnels with no substance. And that's because search engines serve engagement metrics, not intellectual integrity. Then AI comes into the picture, heralded as this new beacon to help guide us. And instead of addressing the problems, it's really just kind of amplifying them. When AI-driven search engines like Perplexity, many others alongside of it, now we have SearchGPT, you might have believed that AI could be this bridge to an idealized future of seamless, accurate information. And for those of you old enough to remember, that was a vision we saw with things like Apple's Knowledge Navigator back in the late 1980s. But instead of a renaissance, AI is now taken us further away from that vision, substituting true understanding with these quick, shallow responses that are eerily coherent, but they're completely empty of understanding. That's because a machine, no matter how sophisticated, it lacks the capacity for the insights that we, as humans, instinctively seek. It can arrange words with precision, but it does not know their meaning. So now we have a system with AI that confuses coherence with credibility, and it gives us answers that might sound good, but they're not necessarily right. So then the question is, what are the compounding issues of AI that's being introduced into the search experience? The first issue is one of understanding, and more precisely, its absence. A language model can mimic comprehension, but mimicry is not the same as knowing. When we search, we need more than just a polished summary. We need depth, we need nuance, accuracy, and AI, as it stands today, cannot verify the validity of its outputs, let alone the broader context in which they exist. The second is the proliferation of noise. And if it wasn't obvious before, I think it's painstakingly obvious now that we're operating in a digital landscape that is choked full of content that repeats, that paraphrases, and even people just post outright duplicates. So now add this to the trove of data these models continue to be trained on, and over time it becomes notably more difficult for you to get the valuable insights you're looking for when you search. Now we know this to be the case, and we know that's the trajectory of it because we have a term for it, model autophagy disorder, and if you see it around in articles, you might see it referenced as the acronym MAD, M-A-D. And this describes how these models collapse when they're trained on their own AI-generated data. And the next issue is a matter of trust. Because for AI to serve as this meaningful intermediary in our pursuit of knowledge, the AI systems need to be able to filter and verify context based on credibility, not just volume, which is where we stand because of how much outdated and unverified data is used during the training process of these models. But perhaps the most troubling failure of AI in search is the one of intent, and this is a word I harp on all the time. When you type in a search query, the AI is responding to the prompt, not the intent. So how can we reasonably expect it to be effective when it doesn't understand what we actually want, especially with more complex, nuanced queries? So if you've made it this far and you still think that AI is the answer to fixing search, that it's going to bring us a future of reliable, meaningful inquiry, then you're buying into the same illusion that God is here in the first place. AI is not a miracle solution. It is a sophisticated distraction that fails to address the real issues of search. Until we're ready to put information integrity above engagement metrics, embedding AI into the equation is only going to accelerate the decline of search. Believing otherwise isn't just naive, it's dangerous. If this video resonated with you, then please like and leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you, and better yet, join the conversation on our Discord channel.